Well, I got out this week and took a little break by driving down to Newport Beach. So things have been really busy lately. I've been teaching an extra class and an Arabic class, and it's just really added another level of busyness to my life. And I just really felt like I needed a break temporarily. And before I got married, I actually used to drive down a couple times a week to the water, whether it was Newport or Huntington, or sometimes I'd even go down to, San Diego, or even drive way out to Malibu. And I really enjoyed that. Sometimes I would take pictures, sometimes I wouldn't, but in the last year, I kind of got back into shooting a little bit, mainly for work reasons. I bought a new Lumix camera, the new S5 Mark II, and I've been enjoying that quite a bit. And I have the Lumix 50mm f1.8 for that, but I also picked up a 7 Artisans 35mm Cine lens. It's fully manual lens. I think it's a T 2.0. And so I've tried to get out a little bit with that. And then a couple weeks ago, I decided to upgrade my phone. I wanted to really, see really how good the new iPhone was. And I had an opportunity for an early upgrade. So I decided to upgrade my iPhone to the new 16 Pro Max. I had previously had the 14 Pro Max, which had the lightning cable. And I had very, very small amount of storage on it, because when I got the phone, I wasn't really doing, I would take lots of pictures with my phone, but I wasn't doing a lot of video. And of course, as we know, video, the files are really massive, especially when you start shooting 4K. And so I wanted to see what would it be like? And so, of course, one of the challenges with the iPhone and shooting out in daylight, and you don't want your footage to look like Saving Private Ryan with that, super jacked up shutter speed, is getting filters for it. So I also decided to get I got a Moment case, and they make a variable ND filter, but they were out of stock when I ordered the case. So I decided to try out a Tiffen system. So Tiffen, who makes filters, they had a magnetic, it works with the MagSafe clips on the back, and then it's a 58mm variable ND filter. I'm not even remotely close to being sponsored by anything or anybody. This is just the stuff that I use. And so it was nice. I messed around with it at home for a couple days, and I was impressed that, oh wow, I can actually shoot in daylight. So when I decided to go this week down to Newport Beach and have a go at it, I said, well, let's really put it to the test, because we're going to be out in massive amounts of daylight. It was a beautiful day. It was like 80 degrees, perfect blue sky. And so I threw it on and went out, and to my surprise, it was actually able to shoot and to my surprise, it actually worked. I was able to actually shoot in stark daylight. I think I was shooting around 11 a.m., 10, 11 a.m. So, sun was completely out and it was blasting, and might have even been a little bit later than that. It might have been closer to noon. So anyway, it was a lot of sun down there off the water. And I will say, I was impressed by the footage, but when I did, as you'll see here, however, I was not quite so impressed with two things on the iPhone. And I think what it can do really, really well for a little toy almost, which is, it has pretty decent image quality, especially if you shoot with the 1X, the 1X lens. It has 3 lenses on it. Each lens has its own sensor, but the others are much smaller, I believe. So the biggest sensor goes with the 1X. So I pretty much just shoot with that one. And what I don't like, of course, is the rolling shutter. Now, even my Lumix here doesn't have the greatest performance when it comes to rolling shutter, but the iPhone is pretty bad. and also noise. So, shooting with tons and tons of light, as long and putting on an ND filter, great. It's pretty good looking actually. But when I tried doing some shooting in the shadows, it was like, it still does not perform very well. Which again, it's, I know these are the limitations of small sensors. And so I went down here to Newport Beach, and I wound up, of course, before you can put it in, you gotta let it out. They always say, wash your hands. Before you can put it in, you gotta let it out. I wound up sitting at this place called Humanity Coffee. They're pretty decent, and had a breakfast sandwich, sat out and got some sun, had a bite to eat, had my coffee, and had a breakfast sandwich, and then went over some notes. I did still work a little bit, even though I was trying to make it into a little bit of a getaway. But man, I love this area. Who knows? Maybe one day somehow, I'll find out a way to live here. The other part that I didn't like too much about the iPhone is, the stabilization is pretty good, but I feel like it's just really wobbly. Took a few shots in the neighborhood here. The light was really nice. It wasn't directly overhead quite yet, so the shadows were pretty decent. And with playing around a little bit in Lightroom, I was able to, get some of the Fuji film look. I always like people that maybe one day when I have some extra bread, I'll pick up one of those Fuji cameras. They seem like a lot of fun. So from here, I decided to just take a little walk back to the car. Parking down here can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge. There's some fun stuff to shoot when you go throughout the neighborhood. There's actually a guy who has a house here that's kind of bonkers. It's got like all kinds of weird stuff hanging off of it, like Pirates of the Caribbean statues or like just some weird stuff. But I always enjoy walking through here. There's always some neat stuff to see. So yeah, I also picked up recently a new microphone. You can probably see it here. All right, let's do a quick test here. Let's see how we're doing in terms of audio pickup and as well as suppression. It's by a company called Hollyland. I think they make more than just microphones. I saw they have like a 4K wireless HDMI transmitter, and anyway, they make kind of, photo AV gear. So I saw some reviews on YouTube and even a few, I think, shorts or something like that on Instagram or a few other places. People using the Lark M2, I think that's what it's called, and it's a wireless microphone, and it has a bunch of different magnetic connections. So you can, like right now, I just have this almost like a little lanyard you can put on, which I like if you're just doing something kind of casual. And it has others where it clips on, and so we've been using it for like our podcast and stuff. And even when I have to give the khutbah or the Friday sermon at the center, I actually run the 35 mil out, the 3.5 millimeter out. I just run that out to the mixer for the PA system, and it works really well. And so I can't believe this thing only costs like $125. I think this has got to be the best wireless mic out there right now for the money. Again, nobody even knows who I am, let alone is paying me to say this. And so I really, really like it. I like the fact that you can record separate, right, and then sync up in post. It can also run out into your camera, So you can run the 3.5 millimeter, like on the Lumix, it has a 3.5 millimeter input. So I could just run right out into the camera, which is really nice. And then also it, you can run the USB-C out into your device. So like the new iPhone has its USB-C, or if you're shooting on an iPad, or actually it did come with an adapter. So if you have an older iPhone that takes a C cable, you can also do that as well. So in the footage here that I shoot at the beach, that's what I did. I just ran USB-C. I mean, it kind of was a janky little rig. I had a little Manfrotto tripod with the clamp, and I had a very short USB-C cable that ran from the transmitter into my iPhone. It's just kind of hanging off, which is probably the best setup, because if you drop it, then you could lose it, or I don't know. But anyway, it worked, and the sound is really good. I actually all of the, including this right now, I'm not using any noise canceling on it. So it does come with a noise canceling feature. I did test it out once. I think I found it a little bit too much. And so I actually prefer to just record straight and then apply a little bit of that if I need to in post, which I'm not doing here right now, but I would prefer to do that. It's a little strong and it doesn't sound quite as natural when you turn on the noise. But I guess if you were in a super loud area, then yeah, that would, I think it would work very, very well for you. So definitely check that out. All right, let's see if we can push the exposure and the sensor on this little iPhone sensor to its limit here. I am using an ND filter, so I can at least try to film in daylight without that extreme stutter, but I don't know, it's pretty bright out here, so we'll see how well this does. And I'm actually gonna check my mic here really quick. I want to see if I need to turn on the noise canceling with the waves here in the background. I mean, it is Southern California. Why live here if you don't come and enjoy some of this, right? All right, I guess we're doing all right. I'm gonna stick with the regular lens here. Somebody that comes to middle ground was like, hey, how come you're not on TikTok? I'm like, well, I'm on most other formats. I'm on Instagram, I'm on X, I'm on YouTube. I don't know. I don't care for the platform of TikTok. Admittedly, I have very little experience with it. When I opened up the app, I just felt like it was trying to push, pornography on me. It was really crazy, like out of the box. And so I was like, nah, I'm not really feeling this. And I didn't like a couple of reasons. I didn't like the short length of videos, which I think is causing us major problems in our community, that nobody wants to listen to, watch, or study anything longer than 60 seconds. And so that's a huge issue. I also didn't like that you had to, you couldn't use a higher quality of video production. I know that's just kind of, that's very me. I want to be able to produce things that look a certain way or have at least a certain level of quality. Like even now, I'm using my iPhone and I have the nicest, latest iPhone, but personally, it's not that great. I mean, sure, it's convenient if we're doing something like this, a sort of walk and talk, but I know everybody raves about the iPhone, but when you compare it to a real camera, it's kind of a toy. Anyway, I digress. You guys got an enthusiastic one there, man. So from here, I drove over to Tustin, went to the REI, and I decided to play around the car. So The Tiffen system, it works with the MagSafe on the back of your phone. So there's no filter for the front facing. So if you want to, shoot selfie style front facing, then what I did is I just manually held it over the lens. But because it doesn't clamp tight, it gives these weird, kind of interesting artifacts. As you can see, I actually kind of dug it. It was kind of cool. I like that. The other part you don't realize is that when you're driving, like, your windshield, man, must block like a good half stop, maybe like 2/3 of a stop of light, and definitely has some strong color shift. So when I pull up to the light here and I roll down the window, I was like, oh man, my footage is probably jacked. I was actually shooting Apple log here. Maybe like half a stop, but still. And then from there, I went on to Santa Ana. I ran over to Sammy's and grabbed a new SD card. I was also curious to see like what kind of Lumix glass they had, but they didn't have a big selection. So I went out, and I've also had a lot of fun shooting with my Lumix lately using the new, the Leica monochrome profile, which is really dope. So obviously the Lumix uses the L mount, a Leica mount glass. Mount, but also now I guess they have some sort of pairing or doing something with Leica, so they have a Leica monochrome profile, which is really nice. So I experimented shooting a couple of quick video clips with that, and then also the standard log, the log profile. But I really love this camera. The Lumix is great. I think it's a fantastic camera.